Welcome to Real Scary Tales with me, Rav. Today I'm going to talk about a trip that we took to Shandalee. Now this, I think I was in my early 20s when we took this trip. It was me, my cold-hearted mother, and my very mean stepfather, and my little sister Sarah, and Gabriel, my little brother. And we took a trip up to Shandalee, and it was I think it was upstate New York that we went to, and it was in the winter time. Snow had come down like crazy during this time, and it was really hard to drive. I remember that, and it took like a couple hours to get up there, at least almost 3 hours. We had to drive slow. It would have been faster if the weather wasn't so bad and the conditions to drive weren't so bad. So we rode 3 hours to Shandalee, and within that time I pretty much slept most of the way. By the time we got up to Shandalee, as we were approaching the house that we would stay at, it was a big 3-story old Victorian house. And I remember looking at it and wondering, wow, this looks like you're going back in time. It looks so old. And we got out of the car and we slowly walked towards the house, and my mother and my stepfather were talking about the people that they had a timeshare or something like that with this house, so everybody got to take a turn staying at the house. So I remember we went in the front door, and when you walked in the front door, just like on the outside, I felt like we were back in time. It got even worse. I felt like we went really far back in time when we went through the door, because everything looked like how it was, I guess maybe 100 years ago. I don't even know if 100 years, maybe exaggerating, but I remember they had these really old TVs and these really old radios that were really big, and all the furniture, everything looked really old. It just looked like all antiques. And I remember we stayed up for a little while and we talked and had food and got to meet some of the neighbors. And then it was time to sleep. I'd had like a drink or two here and there with the family, and maybe I think I had a glass of wine or something. And everybody kind of like got their rooms. They showed me to my room, and Sarah and Gabriel got to stay in another room, and my parents stayed in another room. And I was on the second floor in this place, I think, if I remember correctly. And I remember going to sleep, and I don't know if I was awake, and I don't know if this was a dream or if this was real. That's the hard part about this. I remember it was very, very dark out. It must have been maybe 1 to 2 or 3 maybe in the morning. I can't remember now. It's so far back. But I remember waking up or opening my eyes and seeing someone standing in the doorway. I thought it was my little sister, Sarah. So I kept saying to her, what's wrong? Is anything wrong? What do you want? Go back to sleep. And she didn't answer me. She started walking away. So that kind of like made me more curious. So I got up and I started to walk towards the door, and I looked out the door and she was walking away. And when she was walking down the hallway, this is on the second floor, there was a ladder that was going up into an attic area, I guess. And I looked at that and I saw her standing by the ladder to go up into the attic room. So I kind of turned around and looked behind me, and then I turned back to look, and she was gone. So I assumed she must have gone up into the attic. So I slowly walked towards the ladder, and I started walking up the ladder, and I kind of like peeked my way in and looked around. As I got closer to the top, I looked, and I could see this big, huge wooden floor, and this whole place had a lot of different types of furniture and different things inside there. And I looked around. I didn't see her up there because there wasn't a whole lot of light, except there was an altar-like looking thing at the very, very back of that attic. So I got up, I climbed up there, and I walked all the way back, and what I saw was a bunch of bones, like different types of animal bones, put together in a circle with candles. And I remembered this from when I had the other experience where there was missing time. There was something very similar that looked like that. And when I looked, there were pictures there, and I took a look at the pictures, and there were pictures of my family, my real mother, my real father, my mother, and my brothers and my sister, and I couldn't figure out how my stepfather, my mother only recently started, a relationship with, how he could have these pictures. I'm still up to this day curious about that, but I remember going back downstairs and feeling very strange that I saw these pictures and wondering what these bones were in this big, like, altar-like looking thing with pictures of my family. That was weird. As I was telling the story, a whole bunch of stuff just fell, and I'm going to add this into the story because that was scary. That was really scary, guys. So I'm just letting you know that something very strange. If you heard that, that was all the stuff falling just now, and even the animals jumped back. But getting back to the story, that was scary. So you guys got to get a real scare here with me tonight. That was wild. I wish I could have gotten this on video so you can see it. But that was my trip to Shandalee, and I'm going to hopefully get another story in here soon. I wish I had this on video, guys. I'm sorry, but that was scary. Alright, talk to you guys soon.